Tinley is an East Midlands Regional Officer from Unite and joins me now. Hello, Tony.
Hello.
So what's your reaction then to the suggested 8,000 people that could be made redundant at Rolls-Royce?
As I understand it, that number, which the company hasn't confirmed and hasn't confirmed with us either, is a global figure rather than a UK or Derby specific number. But obviously, it's quite alarming, and can obviously understand the concerns of our members. And I think that's why we need the company to come to us and confirm how they see the impact on jobs, both in the UK, but specifically for your listeners in Derby.
And what have the company said to you so far?
A lot of the focus so far has been around getting employees furloughed and making sure, most importantly, that the workplace has been safe for our members to be able to return to work and do the jobs that need doing at this moment in time, because of course there are still some planes flying. Moving into these further discussions, obviously we're aware that there are some challenges ahead. Nobody can ignore the fact that there's a lot of planes on the ground and there's a lot of insecurity about future flying plans. So those talks are beginning to start, but obviously it looks like somebody in the company, I think the finance guy, just preempted those discussions by going a little too public, a little too early, probably.
What questions do your members want answering, particularly over the next few days with all this speculation?
Well, I think first and foremost, they want to understand what the extent of the challenge is, specifically what impacts that has on sites, what impacts that has on job numbers across the board, whether it's work staff or managers. We have members right across the piece, and they want to be able to know how they can start planning for the future and what level of risk are they carrying. Clearly, from our perspective, what we want to get into early talks, and it was reassuring to hear some of those statements made by the ministers on your programme. What level of support is there going to be from the government to support those jobs, not just at Rolls-Royce, but in the supply chain, because it's a sort of carried acknowledged fact that for every job at Rolls-Royce, there's 4 in the supply chain. So this is a bigger issue than just at Rolls-Royce. And are they going to engage with us in those discussions to make sure that we mitigate the job cuts as far as possible and make sure that this sector, which has grown 30% since 9/11, is in a position to recover. Other countries are putting a lot of money into this sector. So we need to be equally ready to make sure this sector can start to grow again.
Of course, what we're all going through right now is affecting every company. But why is it that Rolls-Royce is so susceptible?
I think it's, clearly when you get something like this happen, a bit like after 9/11, then people immediately stop walking through the gates and climbing on planes. And that has an immediate impact. Rolls-Royce make their money on the engines when they're flying. So clearly if they're not flying, then they're not making the money. So it has quite an immediate impact. I think in the UK, we have this attitude that as soon as there's a problem, then the first thing you start doing is cutting jobs. And I think that's a very short-term view of the economy and not one that is carried out by the rest of Europe or even the States. I mean, even in America, they are investing a lot of money as we speak into the aerospace sector to try and secure jobs and try and secure that sector because they know how important it is to their economy. And we just need to make sure that our government recognises the same challenge.